Well, the forensic investigator Paul OSullivan got an out-of-court settlement with Vodacom the other day. He said that they had illegally given his private information to the gangster Radovan Krejcir, and that was pretty high-stakes stuff. You've had an out-of-court settlement. You're going to say that you can't comment on it, but this is quite a serious matter. If data security, we blindly trust that our data is secure, it gets handed over to a gangster, a mobster. That's pretty high-stakes stuff.
So Bruce, just to be clear, we never handed anything over to a gangster. The way the process works is that the courts have the right to request information from us, or rather not to request, to sanction.
To demand.
Demand that we provide the information. That's what happened in this case, and effectively, I mean, without going into all the details, let's just say there were things that happened once the data was or the information was handed over in the normal process. What we've done is, without going into the detail, we've sat down with Mr. OSullivan and essentially sorted the matter out.
But it raises the question, Facebook has faced the same sort of problem as to who does the data belong to, the security and the sanctity of data. Under what circumstances can my data, your data, anybody's data be shared?
Well, look, I think it's a very good point. I think data security as such is extremely important. Now, we have the Protection of Personal Information, or POPI, as it's called in South Africa. And we operate under very strict rules. I mean, obviously, if a court demands the data, you have to give it by law. So there is, and in each country we operate in, we have to provide it to the particular government based on those laws. In South Africa, I don't think many people realize, but we have something called interception and monitoring, which allows government to have its own interception and monitoring center, so they can access certain calls and these type of things, provided they have an order from court. And that's been there for the last 10 or 15 years. They require your cooperation
in order to do so?
No, they don't, because we've put the systems in, it was almost 15 years ago.
So you wouldn't know if the state was spying on a customer?
No, but they have to do it. There's a certain specific set of laws that apply to interception and monitoring.
And of course they would follow those laws because they are upstanding and good citizens.
Correct.
Tell me about Nkosana Makate. He's the guy who came up with the idea of please call me. Alan or Craig and him apparently had an agreement. Then there was a disagreement, and then there was a big claim, and then there was a court case, and the Constitutional Court gave you the hospital pass and said to you, Shameel Joosub, you're the chief executive of Vodacom. It's probably 3 years ago now. Pay the guy something and make this go away. It went haywire and still not resolved.
Yeah, so it wasn't 3 years ago, but essentially what's
happened...
Time
does drag.
But Vodacom and Mr. McCarthy have been negotiating, and obviously I've been isolated from it because of the role that the Constitutional Court has asked me to play in this respect. The matter is now before me. We've set down dates and times. I've had written submissions from the parties, and now we'll have oral presentations, which the parties have requested, and then I will have to make a call based on the facts before me.
Will you ever disclose what the settlement is? Because you've basically you've each agreed to a gagging order, a mutual gagging order on this.
Well, I think it will be part of what gets settled in the end, you know, and what the communication is that the parties agree in that respect. So they've agreed between themselves. I'm not sure that really covers what I rule in the end, but
but here's a broader, more pertinent question, perhaps, rather than the salacious details, which you won't give me anyway, of a settlement with a guy who came up with an idea. What does it do to innovation within an organization like Vodacom, where staff may or may, depending on who they side with, say, hold on a second, but those guys stole his idea and they won't pay him out, and there is a problem. Does it not hinder a culture of cooperation and creativity within an organization?
Well, I think what we've done in Vodacom over the years is created an environment for how innovation is handled.
So has it evolved since those days of Please
Correct,
Call Me?
Correct. And the issue here, the issue with the Mr. McCarthy's matter was an agreement between him and an employee.
Was Alan not Craig? I mean, who was the
no,
founder?
it wasn't
Alan not Craig.
No, it was the head of the product development and so on.
But somebody who had authority to make an agreement made an agreement.
Well, that's what is set out in the case, right? And that's what the court has ruled on. But essentially, what we've done in the company now is created different innovation programs. We have hackathons, as an example. We just had one last week, which is quite exciting, where different people come up with different ideas. And then there's prize money and these type of things.
Can you retrofit what you're doing today to the McCarthy matter? Is that what you're trying to do?
No. It's two completely different things. I think Mr. McCarthy's matter has to be dealt with completely separately. It's nothing to do. It's two different things completely. This is just trying to foster innovation within the company and create different, whether it's processes or process improvement or idea generation and so on. It's now happening within a innovation framework.
Does it set an uncomfortable precedent for you making a settlement like this?
No, look, I think the the matters before me, but obviously I've got to look at the merits. But in the end, you've got to respect that the court has made a ruling, and therefore, the matters now before me, I've got to look at it, and then basically make a determination. How
much money has Vodacom made out of Please Call Me over the more than a decade that it's been in force?
Well, that's what I say. That's up for debate, and I think the parties have made submissions in that respect. So one wouldn't like to comment on that without having given them a fair chance to both put.
Is a settlement on a percentage basis, or is it simply a number to say, nice idea, guy, you didn't build anything, you didn't create anything, you came up with a great idea, but ideas aren't the same as implementation of a solution?
So I've got to have to listen to the guys first before I determine the solution on TV.
We were hoping. Shameel Joosub is the Chief Executive of Vodacom. Thank you very much for watching Taking Stock on ENCA this evening. Shameel Joosub, thank you very much. Good night.